This is the story of El Muchacho Malo, the bad boy, as told to my dad by his mother. It's from his book, Mexican Ghost Tales of the Southwest, Stories and Illustrations by Alfred Avila, published by Arte Publico Press, copyright 1994. This presentation is read by his daughter, Kat Avila, photography by the same. Note, the story here is based on earlier drafts my father had written, so the wording may be slightly different from the story in the book. Warning, this story contains violence and may not be appropriate for young or sensitive children. Many years ago, in a small village located in the lowlands of the Sierra Madres, there lived a poor family. It was a hard life for the poor. Many collected twigs in the nearby hills and sold them for a few centavos to the locals for their cooking fires. Enrique had worked hard collecting wood and selling it in town since he was 8 years old. He was 16 now, and he was tiring of the daily chore. Nothing had changed to improve his life. His mother was old and could do no more than sit in the house and pray before the family altar, and his father had died young. He thought to himself, to run away to the large city of Chihuahua. He had heard stories from his friends who had been lucky to visit the city for the large festival of El Dia de los Muertos, but he didn't have any money to pay the bus fare. Enrique could only manage enough to feed himself and his mother. His mother was starting to get on his nerves. What a useless old woman, he told himself, sitting at home while he was working hard in the heat of the sun, chopping wood, collecting twigs, and then having to hurry home to fill up water jars from the village fountain. Oh, what a dreary life of work and hardship. One day, he decided he wouldn't go out into the hot sun. His mother pleaded with him to go to work, for there was little corn and beans left in the house. It was a matter of work or slow starvation. Por favor, hijo. But he was tired of her whining and uselessness. He raised himself up and kicked her. He was tired of this place. He grabbed his machete and yelled at her. I'm sick of your ugly face and your whining. I'll fix you once and for all. He hacked her with his wood-chopping machete. After killing his mother, he reached for the small bag that held the little money that was left, stuck it in his pocket, and headed for the river to wash the blood from his hands and clothes. Once I wash myself, I'll head for the city of Chihuahua, he laughed. Upon reaching the bank of the river, he washed the blood from his hands, took off his bloody serape, and began to wash the garment. The blood left a small trail in the water as it rippled away. He got up to leave. To his surprise, his feet were stuck in the sandy soil. He had sunk to his ankles. He strained to break loose, but to no avail. He cried and screamed for help. Some of the townspeople tried to break him loose, but they couldn't. Finally, they discovered his ghastly deed. He had killed his mother. In Mexico, there is no crime worse than the killing of one's parents. As the days went by, he sank lower and lower. The older ladies, taking pity on him, brought him food and drink. He cried, pleaded, and begged for help. They prayed for him, but he sank to his waist, then to his chest. He could be heard at night yelling and crying for his mother to come and break him loose. He sank to his neck. After several weeks, he disappeared into the sandy soil, screaming. They marked his final resting place with an old wooden stake. On dark nights, you can hear him screaming from the river's edge. It was a curse of God, the older people would say, shaking their heads, on a disobedient and muchacho malo. The end.